Hey, coin collectors and treasure hunters, did you know that some of the steel pennies in your pocket change could be worth a fortune? Today, we're diving into the top high-value steel pennies and quarter-dollar coins that could be worth millions of dollars. Stick around to see if you have one of these rare coins hiding in your collection. First up, the 1943 Lincoln Steel Wheat Penny is one of the most famous coins in U.S. history. During World War II, the U.S. Mint faced a shortage of copper, which was critical for the war effort. As a result, the U.S. government made the decision to strike the 1943 Lincoln penny from steel instead of the usual copper. This steel penny, with its bright silver-like appearance, is iconic and highly collectible. In 1943, the U.S. Mint produced over 1 billion steel pennies, but most of them were minted with the standard mint marks of D. Denver and S. San Francisco, while a smaller number were struck at the Philadelphia Mint without any mint mark. The 1943 steel penny's unique composition made it an interesting anomaly in the history of U.S. coinage. The 1943 Lincoln Steel penny shares the same design as the traditional Lincoln wheat cent, which was first introduced in 1909. The obverse of the coin features the profile of Abraham Lincoln, with the words "In God We Trust" above and "Liberty" and the year 1943 below. The reverse displays two stalks of wheat, symbolizing the country's agricultural roots, and the words "E pluribus unum" and 1 cent at the top and bottom, respectively. The most notable feature of this coin is its composition. Unlike most pennies, which are made of copper, this penny is made of steel and coated with a thin layer of zinc. The coin's weight is lighter than the copper versions, making it stand out visually. Lamination damage is a condition where a thin layer of metal begins to peel away from the surface of the coin, typically due to an impurity in the metal or a problem during the minting process. On the 1943 steel penny, this can happen to any part of the surface, and when it does, it drastically reduces the coin's overall appearance and value in the eyes of collectors. However, even in such a condition, the rarity of the coin itself can drive its price up. A 1943 Lincoln steel penny with lamination damage is still highly collectible, as the damage is seen as a unique characteristic rather than just wear and tear. It's a fascinating example of an error coin that collectors and investors covet because it tells a story of the coin's history and its production process. The value of a 1943 Lincoln steel penny in lamination damage condition can vary significantly based on the severity of the damage and the overall state of the coin. In general, you can expect these coins to fetch anywhere from $415,000 in the current market, but for coins with more severe or interesting lamination errors, they can push upwards of $420,000 or more, depending on collector demand. Because the 1943 steel penny is already a rare coin due to its unusual composition, collectors are often willing to pay a premium for coins that exhibit unique flaws or errors, such as lamination damage. So, while a coin in pristine condition may be more valuable, a coin with lamination damage could become a unique piece in a collection, further adding to its desirability. The 1943 Lincoln Steel Wheat Penny, regardless of its condition, is a highly sought-after coin among collectors. Its historical significance, combined with the unique minting process during the war, makes it a staple in any collection of U.S. coins. Collectors who specialize in wartime coins or error coins are especially drawn to this issue. Even with damage, the coin still holds an important place in the narrative of American coinage, especially because of the relatively small number of steel pennies that have survived the years in decent condition. Next up, the 1928 Lincoln Wheat Cent is one of the most treasured pennies among collectors, and for good reason. This particular coin, when in circulated condition, still holds significant value, especially when you factor in its age, historical context, and rarity. Let's break it down. The 1928 Lincoln Wheat Cent was struck during a period of immense change in the United States. The 1920s marked the end of World War I, the start of the Great Depression, and an era of profound social and political shifts. The coin features the likeness of President Abraham Lincoln, which has been on U.S. pennies since 1909, the 100th anniversary of his birth. 1928 was a year of transition in American coinage. It's important to note that this coin does not have a mint mark, indicating it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. The lack of a mint mark is important because it distinguishes it from some other years where coins were struck in other mint locations like Denver or San Francisco. The design of the 1928 Lincoln cent is quintessentially American and steeped in history. On the obverse, we see the famous portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. His dignified profile faces right, with "In God We Trust" inscribed above, "Lib" on the left and the year of minting on the right. The reverse of the coin showcases 2 stalks of wheat, an image that would remain on the cent until 1958. In 1928, over 200 million pennies were minted. However, many of these coins circulated extensively and became worn over time, which makes high-quality examples of the 1928 Lincoln cent relatively rare. While there are other years with lower mintage figures, the 1928 stands out due to its combination of high mintage and moderate surviving quality. Because of this, it is considered a semi-key date in the wheat cent series. When found in good condition, especially in circulated state, the value begins to rise. In today's market, a 1928 Lincoln wheat cent without a mint mark in circulated condition can range in value depending on the coin's specific state of wear and other factors like toning or surface quality. The average auction price for a coin in circulated condition might fall between $30,000, but high-grade examples can fetch much more. Coins in fine to very fine condition can climb into the $36,000 range. For those lucky enough to find a coin that's been kept in excellent condition, the value can skyrocket. It's not unusual for a 1928 Lincoln cent in graded MS-65 or higher Haunty state to achieve a value of over $160,000, and rarer auction results can even reach $200,000 or more depending on the coin's unique attributes. The 1928 Lincoln cent is also interesting because of its potential for error varieties. Some coins were struck with misaligned dies, creating off-center strikes that could increase the coin's value. Additionally, coins with unusual toning, such as a red-brown or unusual shades of brown, could command a premium. However, for collectors, the appeal of this coin is also about the overall design and the historical significance of the Lincoln portrait. As a result, the 1928 Lincoln wheat cent is an essential part of any wheat cent collection. The combination of its historical importance and its place in the broader context of American coinage makes it one of the most desirable coins for numismatists. Next up, the 1943 Lincoln steel wheat penny was struck during World War II when copper was needed for ammunition and other military supplies. The US Mint began striking pennies in steel as a temporary measure to preserve copper for the war. With a mintage of over 1 billion coins, the 1943 steel penny is one of the most produced coins in US history. The D mint mark indicates that the coin was minted at the Denver Mint, which, along with the San Francisco Mint, was one of the primary locations for producing the 1943 steel pennies. Most of the 1943 pennies were struck in Denver, which adds some significance to the D mint mark version of the coin. The design of the 1943 Lincoln steel penny with the D mint mark follows the standard Lincoln wheat penny design. On the obverse, Abraham Lincoln's image is surrounded by the words "In God We Trust Liberty" and the year 1943 on the reverse, the 2 stalks of wheat and the phrase "E pluribus unum" encircle the word 1 cent. The major difference in these coins lies in their composition, as they were struck in steel instead of copper. The steel material gives the coin a silver-gray appearance that makes it stand out from the typical copper pennies. A coin in dirty condition means that it has significant grime, dirt, or other contaminants on the surface, which can obscure the details of the coin and detract from its overall appearance. While this may negatively affect the coin's visual appeal, a 1943 steel penny with a D mint mark remains valuable because of its rarity and historical significance. Dirty coins like these can often be cleaned or conserved, although some collectors prefer to leave them in their original state for fear of reducing their value further. The 1943 Lincoln steel penny with the D mint mark is still in demand despite its dirty condition, especially because so many of the coins from this era were circulated and have since deteriorated in various ways. The more unique or preserved a coin is, the more valuable it becomes in today's market. While a 1943 steel penny in dirty condition isn't likely to fetch the same high prices as a pristine or error example, it still holds substantial value due to its rarity. Depending on the severity of the dirt and the overall condition of the coin, a 1943 Lincoln steel penny with the D mint mark can be worth anywhere from $200,000 in the current market. Although dirty coins may not be as highly valued as those in better condition, they can still be of interest to collectors who are willing to clean or restore the coin. Furthermore, the unique history behind the 1943 steel penny, combined with the scarcity of well-preserved examples, helps maintain the coin's market value. Despite being in dirty condition, the 1943 Lincoln steel penny with a D mint mark remains an attractive option for collectors, particularly those focused on wartime coinage or the Lincoln cent series. Collectors appreciate these coins for their historical significance, and even in less than ideal condition, the coin remains a desirable addition to any collection of 20th century US coins.
Next up, the Washington quarter has seen many variations over the decades, and by the time the 1988 Washington quarter was released, the US Mint had already perfected its production techniques. However, certain issues in the production process, as well as the general condition of the coins, would still affect their value on the collector's market. The 1988 Washington quarter is part of the 1980 series of quarters, which are widely collected today due to their relative abundance and the minor variations and errors they may contain. The coin features a large date style, which was a feature in various years during the 1980s, and the P mint mark indicates that it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. The design of the 1988 Washington quarter remains consistent with that of earlier quarters, with George Washington's image gracing the obverse and the American eagle on the reverse. What makes this coin stand out is not necessarily its design, but rather the fine condition of the piece, especially considering its age. In terms of the 1988 quarter, the large date style simply refers to the size of the digits on the coin. The large date designation is used to differentiate these coins from the standard size digits seen on other years, and it is considered a notable feature among collectors, though not as rare as some other minting errors. In 1988, the Philadelphia Mint struck over 500 million quarters. The 1988 Washington quarter, with its large date and P mint mark, was one of the most widely circulated coins of the era. However, fine condition coins are harder to come by, especially as many of these coins were spent in daily transactions or were subject to wear and tear over the years. Coins in fine condition, meaning they show some wear but still retain most of their details, are much rarer than coins in lower grades. The 1988 Washington quarter was widely used and seen in circulation, which makes finding one in fine condition relatively difficult. While a standard 1988 Washington quarter in average condition is worth its face value, 25 cents a fine condition example can fetch a price anywhere from $30,000 at auction, depending on the buyer and current market trends. Coins in better condition, such as those in extra fine or uncirculated condition, can fetch significantly higher prices, especially if they are part of a special set or hold particular historical significance. This coin, while not as rare as other error coins or special editions, still holds its value for collectors who seek to complete sets of Washington quarters or those interested in specific years and mint marks. Though this coin does not feature any major errors, collectors are still highly interested in fine condition 1988 quarters. The large date version is a particular point of interest, as some collectors prefer the visual appeal of the large date over the standard size, and it serves as a minor variation in the Washington quarter series. For collectors focusing on collecting quarters by year, mint mark, or condition, the 1988 Washington quarter remains an essential piece. The P mint mark specifically appeals to those who focus on coins struck at the Philadelphia Mint.
Next up, the 1943 Lincoln steel wheat penny holds a significant place in the history of US coinage, especially because of its unique composition. In 1943, due to wartime shortages of copper, the US Mint made the decision to switch the metal used for the production of the 1-cent coin. The result was the creation of a steel penny coated with a thin layer of zinc. This change was intended to save copper for the war effort. The 1943 Lincoln wheat penny is one of the most recognized wartime pennies and is often sought after by collectors due to its historical importance. But what makes this particular coin so valuable, especially the large date version without a mint mark? Let's explore this in detail. The obverse of the 1943 steel wheat penny features the familiar image of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. The inscription Liberty runs along the top, and In God We Trust appears at the bottom. The year 1943 is prominently displayed to the right of Lincoln's portrait. This year is crucial because it marks the year when the penny switched to steel, making it one of the most iconic issues in American numismatics. What sets the 1943 large date apart from other steel pennies is the size of the numerals in the year 1943. In fact, there are two variations, the large and the small date. The large date is significantly rarer and more valuable due to its distinct font, which stands out from the small date version. The absence of a mint mark on this coin indicates it was minted at the Philadelphia Mint, as opposed to the Denver or San Francisco Mint. This is an important distinction for collectors, as coins without mint marks from Philadelphia are considered more scarce in certain years. The 1943 Lincoln steel penny was produced in large numbers, with over 1 billion coins being minted that year. However, the large date without a mint mark is far rarer in terms of surviving specimens. The number of these coins in excellent condition is relatively low, making them highly sought after by collectors. Collectors are particularly interested in obtaining 1943 steel wheat pennies because of their historical significance as part of the wartime effort. Many of these coins are worn due to circulation, which makes finding one in good to excellent condition much more valuable. A 1943 steel penny in circulated condition can command a price significantly higher than its face value due to its rarity and the demand for coins with historical stories attached to them. The value of the 1943 Lincoln steel wheat penny can vary greatly depending on the condition of the coin. In circulated condition, prices can range from $84,000 depending on how worn the coin is. However, coins in higher grades, such as those graded MS63 or higher, can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars, with some exceptional examples going for over $5,000 in the right auction setting. The large date version, especially without a mint mark, can fetch even higher prices. It is worth noting that the value of this coin is also influenced by factors such as collector demand, economic conditions, and the specific auction in which the coin is. For example, a high-grade 1943 steel penny in MS65, mint state 65, could easily be valued between $100,000, and rarer specimens with incredible provenance have been known to break the $150,000 barrier. There is also the intriguing possibility of errors, such as the 1943 copper penny, a coin mistakenly struck in copper rather than steel. While this is a rare and highly valuable mistake, it adds to the mystique of the 1943 steel penny. Though we are focusing on the steel penny in this case, collectors often seek out the various known errors, including double strikes or misprints, which can make these coins even more valuable. The 1943 Lincoln steel wheat penny is a favorite among collectors due to its historical relevance and its unique place in American coinage. Many collectors are drawn to this coin because it represents a tangible piece of U.S. wartime history. Furthermore, as the number of surviving high-quality examples continues to decline, the value of well-preserved 1943 steel pennies will likely increase.
Next up, we're going to discuss the 1991 Washington Quarter, which is a bit more unique due to its large date and the presence of a red color shade on the reverse side. This coin, with a D-mint mark, has generated a great deal of interest in recent years. But what makes it stand out, and why is it so valuable in today's auction market? Let's find out. The 1991 Washington Quarter was produced during a transitional time in U.S. coinage. By this point, the Washington Quarter series had been in circulation for nearly 60 years. However, The early 1990s marked a period of changing coin designs and production methods. This particular coin, minted at the Denver Mint, is significant for two reasons: the large date on the obverse and the unusual red color shade on the reverse. The large date refers to the size of the numerals on the date, which are slightly larger compared to the standard quarter design. The red color shade on the reverse, which is often a result of environmental factors, adds a unique twist to this coin and increases its rarity and appeal to collectors. As mentioned earlier, the 1991 Washington quarter continues to feature the same iconic portrait of George Washington designed by John Flanagan. However, the large date on the obverse of this coin is what stands out. The numerals 1991 are noticeably larger, which creates a distinct appearance compared to earlier issues. On the reverse, the eagle is perched on a bundle of arrows and olive branches designed by John Sinek. The red color shade found on the reverse of this coin is often a result of oxidation or other environmental factors affecting the copper-nickel composition. This unusual color adds an extra layer of intrigue for collectors, as these color variations are often considered a form of toning, which is prized by certain collectors for its uniqueness. The 1991 Washington quarter with AD mint mark had a mintage of approximately 600 million coins. This is a significant number, but the rarity of coins with a large date and red color variation is what has sparked interest in the market. In fine condition, this coin typically sells for between $44,000, though auction prices can exceed this depending on the toning and overall condition of the coin. The market value can fluctuate significantly due to the presence of the red color tone. Coins with pronounced color variation may be worth more to collectors who appreciate the unique aspects of toning, especially those who specialize in error coins or coin variations. Collectors of Washington quarters and those with an interest in unique variations are increasingly targeting coins with distinctive features, like the large date and red toning. The unique coloration on the reverse of the 1991 coin can dramatically increase its value, especially when well preserved. In the auction market, these coins can fetch anywhere from $63,000 in fine condition, but coins with exceptional toning can sometimes command even higher prices. Special interest collectors focusing on errors and toning often compete for these pieces, making them highly sought after when they appear in auctions.
Next up, the 1941 Lincoln Wheat Penny was part of the final years of the Wheat Penny series, which was struck by the US, mint from 1909 to 1958. By the time 1941 rolled around, the Lincoln Wheat Penny had already become a staple of American coinage, with millions being minted every year. While the 1941 version was not minted in exceptional numbers compared to other years, it still holds significant value for collectors, especially considering the coin's historical context. In 1941, the world was on the brink of World War II, and this period marks the beginning of significant economic and social changes in the United States. Although the 1941 penny was not part of the wartime emergency change in composition such as the 1943 steel penny, it remains a key piece in the set of pre-war coins. The 1941 wheat penny continues the design established in 1909 by Victor David Brenner. On the obverse, Abraham Lincoln is depicted in a simple yet dignified portrait. Above his image, the word liberty is engraved, while In God We Trust appears just below. The date, 1941, is displayed next to Lincoln's profile, with the lack of a mint mark signifying that it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. The design of the Lincoln wheat penny, especially with no mint mark, is widely regarded as one of the most enduring symbols of American numismatic history. For many, these pennies evoke a sense of nostalgia and pride for an era that predates modern U.S. coinage. Over 600 million Lincoln wheat pennies were produced in 1941, making it a relatively common coin. However, despite the large mintage, the value of a 1941 penny in circulated condition can still command a decent price, particularly if it's in good to very fine condition. A large portion of these coins were heavily worn due to extensive circulation, so high-quality examples are harder to find. Coin collectors have long been interested in the 1941 Lincoln wheat penny because of its historical significance and its place in the development of US currency. The absence of a mint mark indicates that the coin was struck in Philadelphia, which is significant to collectors looking for variety in their collections. In circulated condition, the 1941 wheat penny typically ranges in value from $77,000. However, examples that are well preserved and graded in fine to extra fine condition can be worth between $82,000. Rare higher grade coins can be valued in the range of $100,000 or more, depending on the specific grade, with the most pristine examples reaching upwards of $120,000 or higher in auction. Collectors often seek 1941 wheat pennies in high-grade condition because they represent a piece of American numismatic history. Given that the coin was produced in large quantities, finding one with minimal wear and preserving its original details is highly prized. Like many coins from this period, the 1941 Lincoln wheat penny is subject to errors. While major errors such as doubled dies are relatively rare in 1941, the potential for small minting inconsistencies exists. These errors can add significant value to an otherwise ordinary coin, as collectors appreciate the rarity of such examples.
Next up, 1983. The Washington quarter continued its standard design, but an interesting series of errors made their way into the production process. One of the most notable was the creation of a coin with a demint mark error, along with a clipped planchette. This coin has become a highly coveted collector's item due to its rarity and the error that occurred during minting. The design of the 1983 Washington quarter is largely similar to that of other quarters produced during this time. The obverse features a profile of George Washington facing left with the inscription Liberty and the date 1983 surrounding him. Above Washington's head is the word "In God We Trust," a long-standing tradition on U.S. coins. The 1983 Washington quarter is struck in copper, nickel-clad, which is standard for quarters minted during this period. However, the true intrigue comes with the D-error mint mark and the clipped planchette feature on the coin. The clipped planchette error occurs when the metal blank used to strike the coin is improperly fed into the minting press, resulting in a portion of the blank being missing in this case on the front of Washington's face. In 1983, the U.S. Mint produced over 750 million Washington quarters across its 3 mint facilities in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. However, only a very small number of coins were affected by the minting error, making this coin extremely rare. The mint mark D denotes coins struck at the Denver Mint, and while a fair number of Denver coins were produced that year, only a handful contain the clipped planchette error, particularly in the fine condition that collectors covet. It's important to note that minting errors like this one are rare and often result in coins being pulled from circulation or immediately discovered during quality control checks. As such, only a small percentage of these erroneous coins ever make it into the hands of collectors, further driving up their value in the market. Due to the rarity of the clipped planchette error and its appearance on a 1983 Washington quarter with the D mint mark, this coin holds significant value in today's auction market. Coins like this in fine condition can fetch up to $200,000 to $3,600 at auction, depending on the specific grade and market conditions. The clipped planchette error, especially on such a notable coin, is extremely sought after by collectors who specialize in minting errors and rarities. Coins with minting errors, especially clipped planchettes, have become a niche within the numismatic community. These coins are considered oddities and are often priced higher than their regular counterparts due to their uniqueness and the story behind their creation. Collectors interested in error coins are especially drawn to pieces like this 1983 Washington quarter. The combination of the D mint mark error and the clipped planchette error makes this coin stand out as a prime example of U.S. coinage gone awry. The coin's historical significance, being part of the Washington Quarter series, which is one of the longest-running series in U.S. coinage history, only adds to its allure. Furthermore, there is a specific subset of collectors who specialize in acquiring coins with manufacturing defects. These collectors often pay premium prices for coins that have unusual or rare errors, as these coins are seen as even more unique than the regular mintage of the same year.
Next up, the 1950 Lincoln Wheat 1 cent, in its large date form without a mint mark, is one of the most highly coveted coins among collectors. This coin, like all Lincoln Wheat cents, carries with it a rich historical significance that links it directly to the development of the United States during the early to mid-20th century. In 1950, the country was in a period of post-war transition. The United States had emerged victorious in World War II and was entering the early stages of the Cold War. The coin itself was produced during the presidency of Harry Truman, who was in office from 1945 to 1953. This was a time when American industry and technology were advancing rapidly and inflation was beginning to rise in the wake of war expenditures. The 1950 Lincoln Wheat penny is symbolic of an era in which the country was moving forward but still grappling with the economic aftermath of war. The 1950 Lincoln Wheat penny was designed by Victor David Brenner, who also designed the 1909 version, which was the first year the coin was minted. The obverse features a portrait of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States, facing left. Above Lincoln's head are the words Liberty, and below his image is the year 1950. The coin's most significant design detail is the large date format. In 1950, the U.S. Mint released two variations of the penny, the large date and the small date. The large date, which has a noticeably larger numeral for the year, was initially thought to be an error but was later confirmed to be a standard production variety. The 1950 Lincoln Wheat penny was minted in Philadelphia without a mint mark, which is significant for collectors. The total mintage of the 1950 penny was over 800 million coins, but the large date without mint mark variety is a bit scarcer and thus commands a higher value. While this coin was not particularly rare when it was first released, its circulated condition and its standing as a part of the Lincoln Wheat cent series make it highly desirable today. Although its mintage numbers might suggest a relatively low value in uncirculated conditions, coins in circulated condition with significant wear or scratches on the front side are still quite valuable in the market. This is because collectors of Lincoln Wheat cents are willing to pay a premium for coins that carry the historical weight of the era and are part of an iconic series, regardless of condition. In today's auction market, the 1950 Lincoln Wheat penny large date without mint mark in circulated condition can be found selling anywhere from $15,000 depending on the specific wear, toning, and collector demand at the time of sale. However, prices can rise for coins in better than average circulated conditions or if the coin has significant collector appeal due to unique characteristics like toning or historical value. What makes this coin even more interesting is its potential for error coins. Some 1950 pennies have been known to exhibit die cracks or off-center strikes, which can significantly increase their value. A die crack running through the coin's date, for example, can make this coin even more valuable due to its rarity. The 1950 Lincoln Wheat 1 cent with a large date and no mint mark is a fascinating piece that captures both the spirit of its era and the technical evolution of coin design. Its rich history, along with its appealing design and scarcity in circulated condition, makes it a coin that every serious collector should keep an eye on in the auction market. Whether you're just starting your collection or you're a seasoned numismatist, this coin is sure to hold value for years to come.
Next up coin on the list is a fascinating piece from the United States Mint, the Washington $quarter from 1990 with a P mint mark. This coin may not be as old as some of the rarer ones we typically cover, but its value and collector interest have soared in recent years. Let's take a closer look at its history, features, and market potential. The Washington $quarter series was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of the birth of George Washington, the first president of the United States. The original design featured a portrait of Washington on the obverse and a bald eagle on the reverse. Over the years, the design has remained relatively consistent, though there have been several changes in the reverse design, especially with special commemorative issues. The 1990 Washington $quarter is a part of the regular series and has the familiar Washington portrait on the front. It was minted as part of the circulation coinage at the Philadelphia Mint, indicated by the P mint mark. While it may not have been part of any major commemorative program, The 1990 Washington Quarter still holds significance for collectors due to its historical place in the series. The 1990 Washington Quarter showcases the classic portrait of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan. The reverse of the coin features an eagle, which was designed by John Sinek. This design has remained largely unchanged since 1932, with only minor tweaks over the years. On the obverse, Washington's portrait is detailed and recognizable. The coin is made from a copper, nickel-clad composition with a total weight of 5.67 grams and a diameter of 24.3 m. The mint marks P is located just beneath the Washington portrait, signifying that this coin was minted at the Philadelphia Mint. Over 500 million 1990 Washington quarters were minted, meaning that these coins were produced in high volumes and are relatively easy to find. However, the value of these coins can vary dramatically based on condition. In fine condition, the 1990p Washington quarter typically sells for between $23,000, but this coin can fetch much more in exceptional grades. It's important to remember that coin values fluctuate with market trends, and collectors may seek out certain coins for specific reasons. While not a rare coin in terms of mintage, its historical significance and collector demand can drive its value higher in certain conditions. Collectors of Washington quarters often focus on coins with certain mint marks, errors, or unique characteristics. While the 1990p quarter does not have any notable errors, its value can still be enhanced by its condition and scarcity in the marketplace. As for the auction market, collectors are particularly drawn to higher-grade coins that are well-preserved. In fine condition, the 1990p Washington quarter is typically valued at $28,000, but specimens in near mint or mint, state conditions could see prices up to $50,000 or more. Special interest groups, such as those focused on modern coinage or specific mint mark collections, may be willing to pay a premium for these quarters when they come up for auction. First up, the 1974 coin falls within the more modern era of these coins, and while it may not be as old as some of its counterparts, it has its own unique value, especially in higher grades. The 1974 Washington quarter is notable for its large date version, which came about during the U.S. Mint's decision to change the date style on coins in the early 1970s. The design of the Washington quarter has remained relatively constant since its inception in 1932. The obverse of the 1974 Washington quarter features a left-facing portrait of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan. On the reverse, we see an eagle perched on a branch, designed by Gilbert Stuart. This iconic design was the workhorse of U.S. coinage for decades, with only minor alterations over the years. However, in the 1974 quarter, the large date feature stands out. The numerals are noticeably larger than previous issues, a result of changes in the mint's production techniques. While this change may seem minor, it is one of the key details that collectors look for. The 1974 Washington quarter was minted in large quantities, with both Philadelphia and Denver facilities producing them. However, the coins minted at the Philadelphia Mint do not have a mint mark. This is significant because while many coins were produced during this time, the lack of a mint mark on the 1974 Philadelphia quarter makes it stand out in terms of rarity. The mintage of the 1974 quarter was approximately 629 million, with the vast majority of these coins being released into circulation. However, in fine condition, the coin becomes less common, as most circulated coins of that year show signs of wear and damage. The 1974 Washington quarter without a mint mark is relatively common in lower grades, but in fine condition, the value begins to increase. At auction, coins in fine condition can fetch anywhere from $58,000, depending on factors like market demand and buyer interest. However, what truly drives up the value is the condition. Higher grades, like very fine or extremely fine, could command values closer to $50 or even higher, particularly if the coin has been well preserved or shows minimal wear. While the 1974 Washington quarter may not be the most famous in the series, it has attracted interest from collectors because of its large date feature. Many collectors focus on acquiring examples from specific years that have subtle differences, such as the large date versus small date variety in 1974. Moreover, due to its higher mintage and less frequent appearance in high grades, it has become a desirable piece for those looking to complete a Washington Quarter collection. There are no known major errors or varieties associated with the 1974 Washington Quarter. Without a mint mark, however, some minor issues, such as die cracks or striking errors, occasionally turn up. While these errors are not common, they can add extra value to the coin if found.
Next up, the 1942 Lincoln Wheat Penny is another incredible coin that holds a unique place in American numismatics. This coin is part of the broader Lincoln Wheat series, which was first introduced in 1909 and continued until 1958. The 1942 issue, like others from the time, carries a lot of historical significance and is a symbol of the period during which it was minted. 1942 was a pivotal year in American history. The country had already entered World War II, and the effects of the war were felt in every aspect of life, including coinage. At this time, there were significant material shortages, and coins were being produced with a variety of alternative metals due to the scarcity of copper and other materials required for coin minting. This year marked the beginning of several changes, both in the US Mint and in the economy at large. The 1942 Lincoln Wheat Penny is an essential reflection of this wartime period. The design of the 1942 Lincoln Wheat Penny remains mostly the same as its predecessors. The obverse still features Abraham Lincoln sculpted in full relief and bearing the signature by Victor David Brenner. The inscription on the front reads Liberty at the top and the year 1942 beneath Lincoln's portrait. This design, in combination with the coin's relatively simple aesthetic, gives the 1942 Lincoln Wheat Penny a timeless quality that appeals to collectors. In total, more than 1 billion 1942 Lincoln Wheat Pennies were minted in various locations, including the Philadelphia Mint, which produced coins without a mint mark. The coin's mintage figures suggest it would not be particularly rare, but the condition of the coin greatly affects its value in today's market. Coins in fine condition are highly prized by collectors because they retain clear design features and details. Despite its higher mintage, the 1942 Lincoln Wheat Penny still remains a collector favorite due to its historical context and its association with World War II. This coin can be considered one of the cornerstone pieces of a complete Lincoln Wheat Series collection. The 1942 Lincoln Wheat Penny without mint mark in fine condition can range in value, but it typically sells for $50,000 in auction markets, depending on the quality of the coin. However, coins in better condition, those in extra fine or uncirculated states, can fetch considerably higher prices. Like the 1950 coin, a 1942 penny with unique features such as double strikes or die errors can also drive prices upwards. In some cases, these errors can cause a coin's value to increase dramatically, especially if the coin shows characteristics that were unintended during the minting process. The 1942 Lincoln Wheat Penny is a fantastic representation of wartime America. Its design and historical context make it a must-have for any serious collector. Although the coin is not the rarest in terms of mintage, its significant role in American history and its place in the Lincoln Wheat series ensure its continued appeal.
Next up, the 1966 Washington Quarter Dollar holds a special place in numismatic history due to its error, making it a sought-after item for collectors. The Washington Quarter Series, which was introduced in 1932 to honor the first President of the United States, George Washington, has seen various redesigns and errors throughout the years. The year 1966 was a particularly interesting year for this coin, as it marked the midpoint of the transition in coin production techniques in the U.S. Mint. The 1966 large date quarter, featuring the iconic image of George Washington on the obverse and an eagle perched on an olive branch on the reverse, is part of a broader set of coinage issues during the mid-1960s. The 1960s were a transitional time for the U.S. Mint, particularly due to the increasing demand for coins and the implementation of new machinery and technology. However, What makes this coin especially valuable today is the D-Mint mark error. The D-Mint mark typically signifies coins produced at the Denver Mint. However, in this case, an error occurred during the minting process that led to a distinctively different type of marking or misalignment, which resulted in a unique version of the 1966 Washington quarter. The 1966 Washington quarter dollar coin is one of the most recognized U.S. coins thanks to its simple but elegant design. On the obverse, you'll find George Washington's portrait designed by John Flanagan, which has remained unchanged since its introduction in 1932. The reverse showcases a majestic eagle holding an olive branch and arrows in its talons, symbolizing peace and strength. In the case of the large date variety, the numbers in the year 1966 are noticeably larger and more prominent compared to other years, making it easier for collectors to identify this version. The D-Mint mark error is a particularly valuable feature as it is much rarer than the typical mint mark varieties. While the total mintage of the 1966 Washington quarter is estimated to be over 100 million coins, the D-Mint mark error coins are much rarer, with only a limited number reaching the market. Collectors are particularly interested in these coins due to the nature of the error, which occurred in the Denver Mint during the coin's production run. In fine condition, the value of the 1966 Washington quarter with D-error mint mark can vary, but on the high end, it's worth significantly more than standard examples. The error, combined with its historical significance, makes it a prized find in the coin collecting world. The 1966 Washington quarter with D-error mint mark in fine condition typically fetches between $50 to $200 at auction, depending on the severity of the error and the coin's overall quality. If you are fortunate enough to come across one in uncirculated condition, its value can soar to even higher figures, often reaching into the $88,000 range. Errors like this one contribute significantly to the desirability and value of the coin, especially for dedicated error coin collectors who seek rare pieces with minting mistakes. Next up, the 1997 Washington quarter is part of the later series of quarters that continued to feature the portrait of George Washington. The Washington quarter series, originally introduced in 1932, has undergone several changes over the years. By 1997, the design had remained largely the same since 1932, with only minor adjustments for centering and other production elements. The year 1997 was also part of the ongoing tradition of using the Philadelphia Mint, denoted by the P, mint mark, for a significant portion of the nation's coinage. However, unlike earlier years, when quarters were primarily minted at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, 1997 saw the continuation of coin production using modernized machinery and improved minting processes. As a result, the 1997 quarter is often seen as a more standardized coin in terms of design and production methods. But what makes the 1997 Washington quarter dollar unique, especially in circulated condition, is the ongoing interest in the P-Mint mark variety. While most coins in this series were produced in large numbers, collectors often seek out certain years and mint marks for specific collecting purposes. The 1997 Washington quarter retains the familiar design by John Flanagan, with George Washington's bust featured on the obverse and the eagle on the reverse. The large date design was introduced for better readability, with the numerals in the year 1997 appearing larger than on some earlier issues. The distinguishing feature of the P-Mint mark is that it denotes the coin was minted at the Philadelphia Mint, and while many of these coins were produced, collectors still find them fascinating due to their continued role in U.S. coinage history. The total mintage of the 1997 Washington quarter was in the hundreds of millions, making it a relatively common coin. However, collectors show interest in the coin, especially for specific years, mint marks, and conditions. Although the P-Mint mark version is not as rare as error coins, it remains a collectible coin due to its role in the history of U.S. coin production and its association with later 20th century design. In circulated condition, The value of the 1997 Washington quarter dollar with P mint mark is modest, but can still fetch $49,000, depending on the overall condition and whether it has any unique characteristics or minor imperfections that appeal to specific collectors. In circulated condition, the 1997 Washington quarter dollar is typically worth around $55,000, with well-worn coins being on the lower end of that spectrum. However, collectors who focus on specific mint marks, years, and coins from the modern era will often pay premiums for a well-maintained example, especially if it's in the higher range of fine to extra fine condition.
Next up, the 1929 Lincoln wheat cent, which is often referred to as the large date variety. While this coin might seem similar to other wheat pennies, it has distinct characteristics that make it a noteworthy piece for collectors. The 1929 Lincoln wheat cent was struck during a period when the U.S. economy was beginning to show signs of strain after the prosperous 1920s. This was the year before the Great Depression would begin to severely impact the country. Just like the 1928 cent, the 1929 coin was issued by the Philadelphia Mint and carries no mint mark. This year is also significant because it is part of a transition period between the 1920s and 1930s where coin designs remained largely unchanged, but the economic climate and the societal atmosphere were undergoing significant shift. The 1929 cent with the large date variety was minted with a distinctive font and larger numerals on the year compared to other dates. It's these subtle differences that collectors look for when examining coins from this period. Like the 1928 Lincoln cent. The 1929 coin features the famous image of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse. The only distinguishing feature from the 1928 is the larger, more pronounced numbers in the 1920. On the reverse, the two stalks of wheat surround the inscription 1 cent in the center, again presenting the classic design that would remain on the penny until 1958. 1929 Lincoln cent has a mintage of over 200 million coins, making it one of the more common dates for the Lincoln wheat series. However, finding a 1929 large date penny in decent condition, especially one that hasn't been heavily circulated, can be quite a challenge. Coins with excessive dirt, oxidation, or scratches will significantly reduce the coin's market value. In dirty condition, the coin may only fetch around $99,000 at auction. However, the collector interest increases when the coin is found in better condition, even if slightly worn. A 1929 Lincoln cent in fine to very fine condition can see a market value anywhere from $89,000, depending on the degree of wear and any unique surface characteristics that it may possess. Despite its large mintage, the 1929 Lincoln cent can still be quite valuable, especially when it is in better condition. For the large date variety, collectors are looking for well-struck examples that show minimal signs of wear, toning, or corrosion. In fine to very fine condition, the coin may fetch anywhere between $100,000, and if you're lucky enough to find a coin with an error, such as double die bursts or striking issues, the value could climb significantly. While not as widely known as other Lincoln wheat cent varieties, the 1929 large date variety can be very appealing to those looking to complete their Lincoln wheat series. Collectors often focus on these more subtle variations in coin design, and the 1929's large date is certainly an interesting feature that sets it apart from other years in the series. Coins with errors, including die cracks or off-center strikes, could be highly collectible and therefore worth significantly more, especially in good condition. Additionally, even a coin in dirty condition can be appealing to collectors who specialize in the history and context of the coin.
Next up, 1967. The Washington quarter was well established as one of the most recognizable coins in the U.S. currency system. The coin underwent a significant redesign in 1932, marking its permanent place in American numismatics. By the late 1960s, the U.S. Mint was seeing a shift in coin production due to the rising demand for coinage in circulation during a period of economic expansion and social change. 1967 also saw the first year of the Kennedy half-dollar's production, and it was a time of immense political and social change. The Vietnam War was ongoing, and the civil rights movement was at its peak. These factors, while not directly affecting the Washington quarter, set the tone for the period in which these coins were produced. The 1967 Washington quarter, like all others in the series, features a rendition of George Washington's portrait on the obverse. The reverse depicts an eagle perched on a branch, which has become a hallmark of the Washington quarter design. In 1967, the large date variety of the quarter was created due to a change in the way the mint struck the coins. The numerals for the year were larger, which makes the 1967 quarter stand out among other years. The 1967 Washington quarter had a high mintage, particularly from the Philadelphia Mint. The total mintage for 1967 was around 1.8 billion coins, but again, the coins without mint marks from Philadelphia are often the most common in circulation. Despite its high mintage, the 1967 quarter is somewhat rare in well-preserved circulated condition. In circulated condition, the value of the 1967 Washington quarter is relatively low, generally ranging from $99,000, however. The coin's value increases significantly if it is in higher grades. In fine to very fine condition, a 1967 Washington quarter might sell for between $300,000, depending on the specific market conditions at the time of sale. Coins in high-grade conditions, such as extremely fine or higher, can command prices over $100. Although these higher-grade coins are not as common, they are highly sought after by serious collectors. Collectors of Washington quarters often look for variations in minting and production, and the large date variety in 1967 is particularly attractive. The Washington Quarter series is one of the most popular U.S. coinage series for collectors, and the 1967 quarter fits well into this category. As with the 1974 quarter, there are few major errors associated with the 1967 Washington quarter. However, some collectors may find minor errors like die cracks or off-center strikes that can add value. These types of errors are not common, but can sometimes lead to higher auction prices. Next up, we have a coin that has caused quite a stir in the collecting world. The 1982 Washington quarter dollar with a large date and a rare D error mint mark. If you're familiar with Washington quarters, you know they're a staple in American coinage, but this particular version has sparked an interest due to a notable minting error. The Washington quarter dollar was introduced in 1932 to commemorate George Washington's 200th birthday. Over the years, it has gone through several design changes, but the obverse design, featuring a left-facing portrait of Washington, has remained a constant symbol of America's founding. In 1982, the Mint decided to produce the quarter with a more distinct, larger date to help with identification. The design remained largely the same as earlier years, but the 1982 series included a small minting error that has had a big impact on its value. The obverse of this coin features the famous portrait of George Washington by John Flanagan. The reverse depicts an eagle perched with its wings spread, holding arrows and an olive branch. On the 1982 quarter, the date is larger than previous versions, but the error occurs in the mint mark on certain coins, where the mint mark is misaligned or incorrectly placed. In 1982, a large number of Washington quarters were produced, with both Philadelphia, no mint mark, and Denver D mint mark mints contributing to the total. However, some quarters struck at the Denver Mint experienced an issue where the mint mark was either doubled or effaced. These errors are rare, making the add error variety particularly sought after. Now, let's talk about value. In circulated condition, the 1982 Washington quarter with the D error mint mark can range in value, but it's generally worth significantly more than a standard 1982 quarter. Depending on the extent of the error, the condition of the coin, and the demand in the auction market, collectors can expect to pay anywhere from $100,000 for a circulated example. But here's the kicker. High-grade, well-preserved versions of this coin can fetch over $1,000 or more, especially if the error is prominently visible. The rarity and the collector interest in error coins is what drives this value, with many enthusiasts on the lookout for these unique pieces. To sum up, the 1982 Washington quarter with the D error mint mark is a coin that not only holds historical significance, but is also a prime example of how minting errors can increase a coin's value. It's a fantastic addition to any collection and a coin that continues to attract attention in today's market. Thanks for joining us. Happy collecting.